Hello, 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 hello. I'm Lynn Browder, and I have a son, Owen, who is 13 and has autism. We paint together, working on his fine motor skills. He helps me paint the backgrounds of our paintings, and then I paint the rest. So I was completely thinking I was going to paint something else, and then I was just sitting here and I'm like, my black background, I have some gold through it. Owen and I painted several backgrounds today. Distraction was what I was working on with him, and quite frankly, no matter what I did, it did not work today. We ended up staying home. Well, so let me finish this. We had black and a gold, and a green, I think it was green. And so I, like most of my stuff, I have him paint and we keep going with the colors. And so when it was done, there was some gold left on the brush, and I like to kind of put the streaks on different things with him. So anyways, but today was one of those days. He was so happy when he first woke up, and he started pushing buttons, and he also was just struggling with his own kind of emotions as the morning went on. And you know, when you start and you're having a rough day, then everything, he thinks things are funny, or he'll say something is funny, and I don't know that he completely understands I almost dropped that. I don't think he completely understands that funny isn't what he necessarily thinks it is. He will say that he's telling me something, and he's, going through the emotions with me, and he says it's funny, and his funny is not what I would, agree as funny, because like, he'll walk up to me and he knows that he's supposed to be gentle with me, because of where my, I call it my medicine box to him, the port for my cancer infusions. And he knows and is generally very gentle, very kind about it, very understanding, very, aware, all of that. But then he'll go through and he acts like he's going to push on my arm, or above, it's near my collar, well, it's below my collarbone. Anyways, it's my port. And he acts like he's going to push on my arm. And he then will say, it's funny. And he like drags out the word. And he will do other things that aren't in that same exact kind of thing, but things he knows, they mix up on emotions. I don't think is something that he fully can process or understand. that, people don't think that type of thing of being mean and stopping, like he'll act like he's going to do it, but he's not doing it. But that just isn't nice. It isn't something that's, pleasant. And so trying to explain that to him is always a process. And I want him to be able to laugh and have fun and do things like that. But it's not the same. And he just doesn't make that connection. And so this morning got harder and harder and harder as the morning went on. It was just one thing after another. And it wasn't just that funniness. It was, like I said, so many funny, not funny, and he would say they're funny things. And it just got more and more and more. And then he started screaming, and he woke up this morning and he slept until about 6:30. He was having a glorious morning with me, talking about his friend and just all of the stuff. And then the screaming began and would not stop. And I told him that we needed to work on some other things. I didn't want him to miss church. And he, like I say, he just kept going, and he couldn't stop. He couldn't get to the point where we could get to that medium ground. And so finally, I just told him, like, buddy, we're not going to be able to go to church. He wouldn't stop screaming. I tried all. Distracting Owen is, I learned early on that distracting him is not ever on his agenda. And so it isn't something that just comes quick. And yeah. When he was very little, before I really knew a lot about autism and before I really knew he had autism, I suspected, but I did not know. He would do the exact same motions over and over and over again. And he would listen to the same videos, and it would just go on and on and on. And this one point, he was very young, and he watched this video, and he would do these same hand motions. And this went on for at least 30 minutes. And he got to the point where he would go through it, and he'd stick his hand out, and then he was crying through the motions. Well, I, again, wasn't fully aware of him having autism, and I really, I was an older mother, but I wasn't a mother before, and so I wasn't always sure of all of the things that would be happening and what he would do. And, again, it wasn't something that I thought was typical from a lot of the things that I had dealt with, but I didn't know. And so watching him, I tried to distract him in that time frame. And he went with me and did what we were doing. And it was quite some time. I didn't, let him back to his tablet right away. It was quite a while. He went right back to that same page that our video he was watching, and went exactly through the same motions, emotions, and everything. It was like it was a practice kind of rehearsal for him. And I learned at that point that he needed to finish what he needed to finish, and no matter what I said, did, tried, that was what was going to happen. And it's even harder today than it was when he was 2. And distracting Owen, I mean, I have taken him to so many specialists. We've worked with therapists, we've worked with behavioral, we've talked to his, school support system, more doctors. And so many people have said to me they've never met a child like Owen. And he has this way of being able to adapt his mindset, his thought process, his ways of doing things to the people that he is around. And it's beyond amazing, actually, what he can do and has been able to do for all of his life. So he's my amazing, as I always tell him, and the things that child can do. I live with him and he amazes me every single day. So I don't doubt anything that he can do or does. I have 2 little dots there. Surprise, surprise, I dropped something. As we all know, that I am the queen of. So Owen today was singing a lot of Christmas carols. He loves Christmas music, and he was singing it in many languages as well. And so I was going to do a Halloween thing tonight, but in honor of my sweet baby O, there we go. It's kind of a Christmas flower. But he ended up having a good day at the end. Good morning, good night, middle, very hard. But he told me that he wanted to go to church next week because he was sad that he didn't get to celebrate God today. And I tried to kind of explain to him, we can still celebrate God when we're at home. And we pray all the time, and he knows it, but it's still, I know what he meant, and I also want to make sure he understands that we are always celebrating. So I'm not trying to by any means say that he's not wrong. He's not wrong at all. That's for sure. But I do try to kind of make sure that he understands that there's more times we can do that as well. So I don't know that I explained that very well, but I just want to make sure my dude, he's my amazing. He for sure. Just doing a few more little, a lot of times as the paint dries, it kind of fades out. And my lights, again, as we've all learned, if you've watched before, they never seem to be exactly where they should be to help my eyesight. So, okay, so we sign O for Owen. and then L and B. So there we go. All right. Thanks so much for watching and being a part of our day. Toodles, toodles.